supposed to say that at the street. Come on, bro.
I don't want to hear nothing. Durk just blamed everything on Vonnie.
Durk snitches on Vonnie.
Is that
On August 25th, the Lil Durk trial appeared to take a major turn after Trap Ross claimed that Durk had placed the blame on Vonnie. Inside the courtroom, Durk's attorneys reportedly presented a defense pointing toward Otavanye as the person responsible, immediately fueling speculation that Lil Durk could be cooperating to escape the case. The reaction from rappers came quickly, with 6ix9ine questioning whether Durk was actually snitching on Vonnie, while also saying people should not simply blame his lawyers because Durk paid them to defend him and would know what strategy they were planning to use. That made the situation even more controversial, especially because the defense approach had reportedly been discussed before, with the idea being to put the responsibility on Vonnie and shift the blame away from Durk. 6ix9ine summed up the situation by saying, "Snitch on me and I'll snitch on you," suggesting that if everyone starts pointing fingers, it becomes a cycle of accusations. He also continued reacting to the situation during a live stream with DJ Academics, bringing even more attention to the courtroom developments and leaving fans questioning whether this was actually evidence of cooperation or simply part of Durk's legal defense strategy.
Snitching in that courtroom? Yo, didn't snitch on me? Jorge, the driver, didn't he snitch on me, took everybody down?
Yeah. He was tape recording and shit.
If snitch plus snitch equals okay. No, hold on. Because Durk hired these lawyers, right? So I
Yo, you gotta get on Facts TV because we gonna have to debate this. I'm on Durk's side with this. This is not full snitching. This is called an alternate theory defense. You notice. It's basically Rondo did with C-Day when Rondo said, how don't you, the evidence kind of matched the other guy, so why y'all blaming it on me? Is that snitching? That's not snitching.
You're not supposed to say that at the street. Come on, bro.
Within the first hour of the court proceedings, Lil Durk's lawyers reportedly laid out a defense strategy that placed the responsibility on Vonnie, who was already alleged to be cooperating against Durk. But the Otavanye connection has drawn particular attention because Otavanye is described as King Von's real-life cousin. According to the defense narrative presented in the source, Vonnie allegedly wanted revenge for his cousin, and that motivation was tied to King Von's final words before his death. The news report quoted in the source states that King Von's last words to Vonnie were, "Why did you let me get hit?" According to Lil Durk's defense team, those words may have had a powerful emotional impact on Vonnie and allegedly pushed him towards seeking revenge for Von. The claim that King Von's final words could have influenced Vonnie's actions quickly became another major talking point surrounding the case, especially as questions continued spreading about whether Lil Durk was allegedly cooperating. DJ Academics also reacted to the controversy, adding another layer to the growing discussion surrounding Durk's defense strategy and the accusations being made inside the case.
Government has stuff wrong and basically says the mastermind is Kavan Grant, aka Otavanye. What does that tell us, Jack? It tells us that Durk's defense, we don't know if he's gonna put on a full defense case, but he's already framing this as, why y'all saying Durk is the mastermind? It's Vonnie. Now, for the people in the back, he's not pointing fingers. What he's doing is what's called an alternate theory defense, right? An alternate theory defense is like, say me and you at the park. Somebody get to the park. They arrest me because they claim there's evidence that I did. It's kind of looked at in certain senses as snitching.
Once again, 6ix9ine jumped into the conversation, this time criticizing the alleged defense strategy and saying, "Just say you don't know what happened and it wasn't you, nothing else. No need to blame somebody else." His comments were quickly interpreted as another accusation that Lil Durk was snitching, adding even more fuel to the ongoing controversy. The situation also caught the attention of King Yella, who joined the discussion and shared his own reaction on Instagram.
I don't want to hear nothing. Durk just blamed everything on Vonnie. Vonnie is the only one that want to slide for Von. Why? Because that's his best friend. He booked the flight. He did this. He did that. Hey, listen, you dealing with some Chicago slime ball. Like, I don't care what y'all talking about. Vonnie was never Durk homie.
But this is where the situation took another turn, as the famous rapper Lawyer for Workers, aka Mo, called out Trap Ross over the post, claiming that Durk was blaming Vonnie. That post had already created a major storm across social media, with allegations that Lil Durk was snitching spreading rapidly and becoming one of the biggest talking points surrounding the case.
In this tweet from Ross, I gotta talk to Ross. This is not a story. Durk did not just blame everything on Vonnie. Vonnie got picked up by cops, admitted to everything, admitted to getting the cars, arranging the flights, admitted to getting the buying the ski masks, admitted to getting Sprinter vans and taking everybody around. And then he said, I did all of it while facing life in prison. I did all of it because Durk Banks paid me to do it. And now Durk Banks is in court saying, I don't know what he's talking about. And to put out a headline that says, oh, Durk just blamed everything on Vonnie. What?
Lil Durk himself is not taking the stand or providing prosecutors with information about Vonnie. Instead, his attorneys are challenging the credibility and actions of the government's actual witness, Vonnie. The goal is to create reasonable doubt by arguing that if Vonnie is assisting the government in building a case that could potentially send Durk to prison for life, then the defense pointing the finger at Vonnie is simply part of a legal strategy, not evidence that Durk is snitching. This distinction would later be reinforced by Bradford Cohen as well.
Talk about Lil Durk update. Here's what's interesting about this case is the headlines today are Durk snitches on Vonnie, which me personally, I'm sure there's a lot of snitch experts out there. I've been doing this for 30 years, so I think I know a snitch or two. What they're saying is Durk is essentially blaming everything on Vonnie. He's essentially snitching on the snitch, which to me doesn't make any sense. This guy Vonnie went in, I guess he was Durk's right-hand man. He went in and spilled his said that he bought tickets, he drove around with these guys, took pictures with them, showed them where to go, bought all these other allegations that he admitted to. But he says, but Durk made me do it. And Durk and trial is saying, hey, I don't know what this guy's talking about. He takes the blame for all this stuff because rightfully so, that's what he did.
After the court proceedings ended, Duty Low was also seen outside the courthouse showing his support for Lil Durk. To me, that raises another question. If Durk were actually snitching or cooperating against Vonnie, would Duty Low really be standing outside the courthouse publicly supporting him?
Hey, pull up. We're in front of the federal courtroom. If you in LA, pull up. We outside. I got shirts for y'all. Free Durk shirts. Free my boy, man. We outside, man. Y'all want to support? Pull up right now.
But just when it looked like Lil Durk's defense strategy might be working, prosecutors reportedly introduced another major piece of evidence. They alleged that Vonnie had committed a crime while using a rental car, only for investigators to later discover that the vehicle had a tracker installed without his knowledge. According to the prosecution's theory, investigators then noticed Vonnie repeatedly driving that same rental car back and forth to Lil Durk's house. That pattern reportedly led them to believe the vehicle could have been used to carry out crimes before Vonnie returned to Durk's home, potentially to collect payment or receive instructions for another job.
Saying that the car that was rented to do all of this, and it was rented by Vonnie, that Vonnie's gonna testify he rented. If Durk is gonna say that he ain't got nothing to do with it, which by the way, we just found out from, Steady Nash, and, I'm pretty sure Chaplain is gonna tell us, that car has a tracker in it that tracks back to exactly where Durk is at. So Durk's defense of, I just went to see my family. Well, if you went to see your family, now I'm not saying this is just hook, line, and sinker, he's done. But you're not gonna have to explain why, if you only went to LA to see your family and do business, why does that car come back?
It would get even more complicated when another detail reportedly emerged about why Lil Durk allegedly had Vonnie recruit an outside crew to target Lil Pop instead of relying on a core group of O-Block members. DJ Academics reported that Amex claimed some members did not slide for King Von because they were already under investigation over FBG Duck's death. This came after reports that Durk was reportedly furious with members for not taking action following Von's death, while they allegedly wanted to move on and celebrate New Year's instead.
The New Year's really upset that he felt that the O-Block guys was going to go slide. The O-Block guys were, at that time, embattled, at least the main ones. They were embattled with the investigation into them, FBG Duck. So all of Von's real who should have been sliding, most of them were getting bogged down by the feds because of the FBG Duck.
With the courtroom momentum seemingly shifting toward the prosecution, another major question emerged. Why is Jam allegedly cooperating against Lil Durk in the first place? According to the claims being discussed, Jam may not have wanted to provide information at all. But after what allegedly happened to Dee Dee's younger brother, the situation reportedly changed, leaving Jam with a reason to cooperate against Durk.
Jam, decorated hitman, Sammy the Bull, he went on a hit with him. I guess we gotta blame Jam because Jam supposedly let him have the afterwards, but he told him to get rid of. He didn't get rid of the. Got caught with the. And when he gets caught with the, he's crying like this before he gets to the station.
The situation reportedly began with Jam committing a crime alongside Dee Dee's younger brother. According to the claims being discussed, the younger brother kept the firearm used in that crime and continued carrying it around as if nothing had happened. Jam allegedly told him to get rid of the weapon, but he never followed through. Later, the younger brother went into a local convenience store while still carrying the firearm in the back of his jeans. The store owner reportedly noticed the weapon and contacted police, leading to the younger brother's arrest.
At that point, Lil Ted was reportedly arrested and taken to the police station. But even before he could make it inside, he was allegedly seen with tears streaming down his face, pleading with police and saying, "I swear I'll tell you all about the passings," apparently hoping that cooperating would keep him from being locked up. But according to the claims surrounding the case, by then, it was already too late for him.
Hey, stop it. Stop it.
Because he was Dee Dee's younger brother, he potentially had knowledge of crimes connected to people around Dee Dee, who was described as one of Lil Durk's closest associates. But investigators were reportedly focused on one immediate question: where did the firearm found in his jeans come from? According to the claims being discussed, he quickly told police that the gun belonged to Jam. That allegedly triggered a federal raid on Jam's home, and Jam was reportedly on probation at the time. With federal investigators now involved and the pressure increasing, the situation allegedly left Jam facing a serious choice: cooperate and provide information about Lil Durk, or potentially risk spending the rest of his life in prison.
Afterwards, the police raided Jam's crib. They got the probable cause from this crying dude. They figure out that was used on a drill that Jam was also on. They used it as PC to raid Jam's crib. Now, here's the thing. This dude gets up out of this situation. Because his brother is OTF Dee Dee, no one is thinking that this body cam exists. They're not thinking he's crying and telling the cops, "I'll tell you about it." If anything, they're thinking he's holding it down. His brother is Dee Dee, okay? So what happens is when Jam gets raided, essentially, they're starting to think maybe Jam got some going on.
It was at this point that Jam allegedly began cooperating with federal investigators and wearing a wire as part of an agreement with the authorities. The reported goal was to gather information about potential crimes involving F and Lil Durk. But once these details started becoming public, something else caught people's attention. Jam reportedly took to Instagram and began comparing himself to Sammy the Bull, drawing another wave of reactions to his alleged cooperation with the feds.
Compared himself to Sammy the Bull. He basically said this: "This is my address." I don't know if he really got released from jail, but he posted an address. He says, "This is for anybody that feel like that I'm doing something that Sammy the Bull didn't do." Now, I gotta tell you who Sammy the Bull is if you don't know who that is. Sammy the Bull, the hired muscle and for I believe John Gotti. He eventually turned into a cooperant, an underboss who brought down John Gotti. So he brought down John Gotti. He did a 20-year sentence, okay, and was released in prison. He's now living a free man, but it's whatever. We have to assume that OTF Jam told the feds about every he did for Lil Durk hoping that after all this, he'll get his 20 years.
DJ Academics then reported that prosecutors allegedly expect Jam to testify about the $50,000 Lil Durk gave him, claiming the payment was connected to what Durk referenced in the song Back Again, and was, in Jam's view, intended to get him to carry out things for Durk. Jam is also reportedly expected to testify about an incident during a music video shoot, where Durk and other F members allegedly took him into a bathroom and told him to slow down on criminal activity because Durk believed Jam's actions could attract federal investigators. Trap Lord Ross later suggested that prosecutors may be preparing Jam to discuss alleged crimes beyond the Lil Pop case itself. Jam would also allegedly testify that Boone Mo recruited him on behalf of Lil Durk for the Lil Pop killing. Adding to the significance of that claim, footage allegedly showing Lil Durk giving Jam $50,000 was reportedly presented as evidence in court.
Steady crying, huh?
He's steady crying. Feed him. Feed him.
Get the milk so they want me to trick him, bro.
See that?
Feed
For my
him.
baby. That's really how y'all hold y'all babies, ain't it? I gotta hold my money like this. It's too much. Crazy though. My sitting up there doing all this. Sneak this and internet games and all this. Up some money, do something. Like, we winning, bro. I can do whatever it is I want to do, I can do it.
That's your leg beat. 12?
12.
That boy popped out 12 years.
The situation also drew a reaction from Whack 100, who appeared to confirm the allegations that Jam is cooperating against Lil Durk. His comments added even more pressure to an already serious case, especially with Jam's alleged involvement with federal investigators. And if these claims are accurate, it leaves Durk facing a situation that may be extremely difficult to change at this stage.
I named OTF Jam.
That was wild.
Very ironic name.
Jam got him in a
jam.
Did 12 years.
12
got
years.
out, interviewed, said he kept it real, brought him cars, gave him 50,000.
Right.
This. Made mention that ain't no smut on his name. He ain't never been a rat. Caught a gun case, but eventually he flipped.
However, this is where the story takes an even more complicated turn. 6ix9ine argued that Lil Durk may have failed the people around him, which could explain why some of them are now allegedly turning against him in court. His point was straightforward. Why didn't Jam simply have a strong attorney representing him when he was facing the case involving Dee younger brother years earlier? That question becomes even more significant because Durk had previously criticized Chief Keef for allegedly refusing to cover his associates' legal bills. Now, fast forward to 2026, and 6ix9ine is suggesting that Durk may not have followed the same principle when his own people needed support. According to that argument, the consequences are now becoming far more serious, with Durk potentially facing the harshest possible outcome in his own case.
It's becoming increasingly worrisome. All of these guys are folding. And unfortunately, this was something I remember Durk was taking aim at Chief Keef when he was like, yo, you put their name in a song, you got them hot. And you didn't pay for a lawyer. Well, Durk, that might come back to bite you because it appears that maybe you were paying for their lawyers when you were free, but now that you're arrested with them, it doesn't seem like you are. Now is the time they need it because they're facing that. And yes, they might be caught to rights because they're the and they're caught on camera. But if they could escape life in prison and get 20 to 25, these guys are anyway. They'll walk that down, as they say. They'll walk the 25, 30 years down, which would.
That led 6ix9ine to take another shot at the situation, arguing that people are more concerned with earning respect from strangers than protecting their own freedom and future. He wrote, "Y'all want to be respected by 9-to-5s and the unemployed. I'd rather be free, alive, and well. Y'all want to convince me so bad that I did bad, like I'm smarter than y'all." He then pointed to the current situation, saying that one man is gone, another is now fighting for his life in court, while little Tim remains alive and continues rapping about everything that happened. In 6ix9ine's view, that meant he had already won the argument. He continued by saying people would rather prove themselves as real to complete strangers, even if it means facing life in prison, instead of choosing freedom while being hated by people working regular 9-to-5 jobs.
I don't know who need to hear this, but y'all been trying to convince me for the past 5 to 6 years
that I did bad, I did something wrong. You know I'm alive, right? It's 2026. I'm free. I'm alive. I get to hug my mom. Right now, I'm not in no cell waiting till a CO tell me pull my pants down, cough, shut up, lock in, turn the lights off. Bro, y'all just over here trying to improve 9-to-5ers, bro. You know that, right? These 9-to-5ers, half of these unemployed or half of these working 9-to-5. They gotta wait. It's over, bro. Like, one nigga about to do life in prison and the other is, now you crashed out. Listen to me. I don't go with you. Yeah, bro, you do it, bro.
We 6ix9ine.
6ix9ine believed Lil Durk was more focused on proving to the public that he was a gangster who would slide for King Von than simply protecting the freedom and success he had already earned as a multimillionaire. That perspective eventually led to DJ Academics reacting, especially after details emerged that allegedly showed a much more complicated situation behind the scenes. Academics argued that people may actually owe Lil Durk an apology after learning that Durk reportedly had to pressure O-Block to slide for Von while he was still trying to find Quando Rondo, even after Quando's cousin had been killed. Those details, according to Academics, challenged the idea that Durk simply chose his money and freedom over loyalty to Von, because the situation suggests he was still actively dealing with the conflict and trying to pursue the people he believed were connected to what happened. For years, 6ix9ine's argument was that Durk had already achieved the kind of lifestyle most people would protect at all costs, so risking everything because the public expected him to live up to a gangster image seemed unnecessary. But Academics is now pointing to the alleged behind-the-scenes pressure and Durk's continued efforts to locate Quando as evidence that the story may not have been as straightforward as people originally believed. Instead of simply walking away, the claim suggests Durk remained involved in the aftermath of King Von's death, which is why Academics feels the public may have judged him without knowing the full picture. And that is what makes the situation so interesting. While 6ix9ine viewed Durk's position as a choice between his millionaire lifestyle and his street reputation, Academics is suggesting there was far more happening than outsiders understood at the time. Whether that changes everyone's opinion of Lil Durk is another question, but it certainly gives people a different perspective on the decisions he was accused of making after King Von's death.
Stated that O-Block hopped in some New York City and they playing with Von name that. They said, we staying out of other wars. Don't hop in ours. All right, blank. Everybody needs to write an apology to Durk. Durk was standing on business. O-Block was no block. Durk is stating that the O-Block ain't sliding, and he's mad. He said they're on some New York City. Why you say New York City? Like New York City. Evidence showing that defendants continued to Quando Rondo after the is material. So they said even after they Quando's cousin, they still shot.
We're in with.
What came out during the Lil Durk trial was something that even caught people off guard, because investigators reportedly believed Durk was pressuring O-Block members to retaliate for King Von, with the alleged message being that if they could not get Quando Rondo, they should target someone close to him instead. According to the information being discussed, that pressure was connected to the wave of trolling that started with Tekashi 6ix9ine, who turned the phrase "slide for Von" into a viral slogan. As the phrase spread across social media, tens of thousands of fans reportedly began flooding Lil Durk's comment sections with the same demand, repeatedly pushing him to respond to King Von's death and live up to the image they expected from him. What makes the situation even more significant is that investigators believe this online pressure may have contributed to the atmosphere surrounding Durk and the people around him, turning a social media taunt into something much more serious. Instead of the phrase remaining just another viral insult from 6ix9ine, it allegedly became a constant message directed at Durk and his circle, creating enormous public pressure around what should happen next. The trial has therefore brought new attention to a part of the story that many people may have overlooked, because the constant Slide for Von campaign was not happening privately. It was playing out in front of millions of people online, with fans repeatedly demanding retaliation. And now, with investigators presenting their interpretation of what was allegedly happening behind the scenes, the viral trolling from 6ix9ine is being viewed in a much more serious context than it originally appeared.
It was already supposed to happen.
I don't know what kind of it is.
No. Yo. They know the exact name. Put a 10 in King Von and he did by himself. Why nobody slid for that? Yo, y'all want this?
I'm gonna be real with you.
No,
hold on. I discovered.
Say, yo, Durk,
listen,
don't for me.
I discovered King Von.
No,
when
I don't
King
want to talk
Von
about
died.
King Von.
So
Why
I don't
is
know.
Durk not sliding?
The federal prosecutors reportedly believe the viral Slide for Von campaign had a serious psychological effect on Lil Durk, with tens of thousands of people repeatedly flooding his social media accounts and demanding that he retaliate for King Von. According to that interpretation, seeing those messages constantly
could have made Durk increasingly uncomfortable and uneasy as the public pressure continued to build. But the pressure allegedly did not stop with Durk himself. It also reportedly affected the O-Block members around him, because they were the people who could potentially be expected to carry out the retaliation that fans were demanding online. While thousands of supporters could sit behind a screen and spam Durk's comments every hour, the people around him would allegedly be the ones facing the real-world consequences if anyone actually acted on those demands. That created another layer of pressure surrounding the entire situation, with prosecutors arguing that the online campaign helped create an environment where Durk and his associates were constantly being reminded of the expectation to respond to Von's death.
Like, ain't nothing in the water. Your friends just told on you. And Durk gotta be the stupidest in the world. You know why he gotta be the stupidest in the world? Because he knew his friends wasn't because he even said, if the feds is on me, I delete my iCloud, some.
It's no point to get a lawyer if your homie told.
The pressure surrounding the "slide for Von" phrase allegedly became even more intense once Lil Durk referenced it in his music, taking something that had already exploded across social media and putting it directly into his lyrics. Durk rapped, "They be on my page like slide for Von. I know they're trolling me. Got it back in. Y'all don't know that's how it's supposed to be." A line that prosecutors have pointed to as part of the broader context surrounding the situation. The phrase had already become a viral demand aimed at Durk, but mentioning it in a song helped push the conversation to an even larger audience. Durk later addressed the same subject during an interview with DJ Academics, where Academics brought up the slide for Von comments and asked if people were still saying it. Durk responded that he did not know if people still used the phrase, explaining that they used to say it, while also acknowledging that he had referenced the comments in one of his songs. He recalled people telling him, "They be saying slide for Von, I think they're trolling me," before Academics complimented the track and pointed out that for some reason he was no longer seeing those comments. Durk similarly said he did not understand why the comments had seemingly disappeared. What makes the exchange notable now is that the phrase was not just an online trend anymore. It had become something Durk himself was publicly acknowledging, while prosecutors later examined the surrounding lyrics, social media pressure, and events as part of their broader case against him.